Hey, what's up, Vimmers? It's Nocturing here, and I'm going to do another, this time, a nighttime coding session. So forgive me if I'm a little drab, I'm a little sleepy. But I wanted to show you some must-have side-scrolling key bindings and also key bindings for managing window sizes in Neovim without any plugins. I personally find that I can't live without these. I've experimented with this with plugins and finally landed on this way. So have a look, see what you think, and give it a shot. So I have an empty directory here. Actually, I have a one test file, but I'm going to go ahead and fire up Neovim and have it look for config in this directory, and we'll just build this up bit by bit. That'll open up Neovim in this directory, looking for config in this directory. And so you can see we have a blank slate here. If I just show you what's in this directory, I have this test file. Here it's got some long lines in it that we're going to use to demo the keybinds that we set up here. I'm just going to go ahead and set no wrap on this so that we have something to scroll on. So there's that. I'm going to go ahead and open up a brand new init.lua in a new tab. Well, let's first just kind of do a problem statement here. Neovim does have built-in, out-of-the-box ways to side scroll in buffers. And if you didn't know, it was Z, L, and ZK. Those scroll side to side. L would scroll to the right, K to the left. So if I just demo that real quick here, I'm going to type Z and L, and I scroll to the right one character. And I can do that repeatedly. I can also give that a count. So I'm going to do 5 Z, L, and I just scrolled 5 characters to the right. 5ZH will scroll to the left 5 characters, as you see there. And I can just do this repeatedly. It gets very tedious typing that over and over again, either ZL, 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 or 5ZL, 5ZL. That's just too much work, right? We're using Vim, dang it, so we can optimize this workflow. Let's do that here. So what I'm going to do is create a mapping that just runs ZL and ZH under the hood, but just more efficiently. And I wanted something I could tap. So let's just build this up. I want to be able to run this mapping in my config in normal mode and visual mode. And what I finally landed on is just abusing my option key and my meta key on Mac, if you're on Mac. So I'm going to do meta H, and that will map to, if you're on Linux or Windows, that's your alt key. So this works on Mac and Windows, as long as your terminal supports accepting option or alt keys. And what I'm going to do here is just say when I press Alt H or Option H, as the case may be, I want to go 5 lines to the left, like that. And you may choose 10. You can play with this number. I'm pretty zoomed in here, so I'm going to leave this at 5. I'm going to have a corollary to this, which will be for when I want to scroll to the right, do 5ZL. So let's go ahead and source this. Source. Typing's hard. And now when I hold down Option and then tap L repeatedly, I can scroll to the right repeatedly. This is much more efficient. It's just much easier to do than repeatedly typing ZL, ZH, and whatnot. And if you didn't see there, I also scrolled to the left by holding Option H, scrolling to the left. So this is great. So I had an aha moment because I was realizing when I imported this into my config that, hey, I had a window resizing plugin. I don't know if you've ever had multiple windows here, and you struggle to resize them. There's a similar sort of problem you run into where, oh well, there are out-of-the-box mappings for resizing windows. I can type Control W and then right angle bracket to grow a window, and Control W left angle bracket to shrink a window. But if I want to repeatedly shrink and grow a window, that gets very tedious. Well, we just solved this problem by abusing our Option key. So let's go ahead and do that. But just for the window resizing case. So for this one, I'm just going to borrow this. We don't really care about visual mode, and let's just change this from here. So what we're going to do here is abuse the Option key, or the Alt key, and instead of Option key H, we're going to do Option key Shift H, so that'll be capital H in this case. And so what I think of when I do this is when I press Option key Shift H, I'm thinking H is to the left, and in my brain, that means shrink. So let's shrink this window. So what I'm going to do, instead of, there's no normal mode mapping that does this, I'm going to need to run a command. I mean, I guess I could do, Control W and then the right angle bracket, was it? Let's see, Control W, that grows the window. So we actually want left angle bracket to shrink the window. So we could do that. I prefer this form, which will be running the command and then running the WinCMD command. And then, but then you have to escape this left angle bracket. So it's slightly uglier. I like that form better. You don't have to like that form better. That's just what I like. And then the opposite for growing a window. So growing a window is going to be like this. So that'll grow and shrink horizontally. We can also grow and shrink vertically. So let's do that. So oh, I actually, I was talking and I can't talk and type. So that'll be H, L, and then for J, we actually want to, when I do Option Shift J, I think of shrinking the window vertically, which I believe is minus. And then for growing the window vertically, I think of holding Option Shift K. If this just sounds like word soup to you, try it out. It makes much more sense when you feel it in your, your right hand with H, J, K, and L. And then also just play with it and just see what works for you. So this will be win command plus, and then make sure I type this right. So let's go ahead and source that, and I'll just show you what this looks like. So now that I have those sourced, if I got all the orientations right, I can hold Option, Shift, and you know what? I just realized I didn't add a count to these. So these are only going to grow the window by one character at a time. So let's go ahead and add, kind of like we did before, do this 5 at a time. So now if I hold Option, Shift, and then press L, so it's Option capital L, this grows the window by 5 characters. I can also press H to shrink it again. And notice I'm just holding the Option and Shift keys down and then pressing H, J, K, and L. So I can tap these repeatedly. So if I want to grow this window, I think of growing as up, so K. So I'm going to type Option, Shift, K. This grows the window. J, by comparison, would shrink the window. I love this because I can just repeatedly tap this and just efficiently resize my windows. It's just easy. So there you are. Window resizing and side scrolling in Neovim.